Alright, this is concept 4, but as I said before, we've got some new vocab. So our vocab is first quartile, and that is the median of the lower half of a data set. So if you take the median of a data set, that's also called your second quartile. And then you are looking at just the lower half. The median of that is going to be your first quartile. The median of the upper half is going to be your third quartile. And then the interquartile range is going to be the middle of your graph, that range, okay, that middle half. So it's going to be the difference between your third quartile and your first quartile. All right. Okay, now a box and whisker plot is a graph. All right, it represents visually that information about the quartiles. Okay, so we have our lower quartile, or our first quartile, our upper quartile, or our third quartile, and those make a box. Okay, and then we have our median, or our second quartile, and that's kind of in the middle of our box. All right, the lower extreme is the minimum. Okay, so the smallest number in our data set. And the upper extreme is the maximum, the largest number in our data set. All right, so a box and whisker plot is nice because it lets us see really quickly some of the useful information from our data set. So I know if this was like a test, someone got 100. Okay, the median for all the scores was like 68. Okay. And someone did really not do very well and got like a 18, 17. Okay? The fact that this is a longer line means that this is kind of an outlier, right? There's a large distribution between the first quartile, the lower quartile, and the minimum. So we've got a little bit of an outlier. Okay? Most students, half of the students, scored in this box, so between 52 and 87, right? Okay. So concept 4 is about reading and interpreting box and whisker plots, and we just did a lot of that. So remember, we're looking most with box and whisker plots at key points, the median. All right, the line inside the box is kind of our go-to. That's our first thing we can look at that tells us the most. All right, the maximum and minimum, or the interquartile range, so the box itself, or the points on the ends, can also be good things for us to look at. Okay, so if I'm looking at this box and whisker plot, and I'm answering these questions, which classes had the highest scores? Well, the highest scores, so that's looking at the maximum point. And it looks like period 1, period 4, and period 5 all had at least one score of 100. So they had the highest scores. The class with the lowest median is going to be period 4. Okay, lowest median. Oops. The class that had the largest interquartile range, well, that's the biggest box, is going to be 5th period. So 5th period had a lot of people scoring kind of all over the place. It was the least small group. And then which classes had an outlier? Well, an outlier is going to make a long line on one side of your box, okay, on one side of your whisker plot. So the longer the line is compared to the box itself, the more of an outlier it is. So period 1 had an outlier, right? Someone scored 65, but most students, half of them scored between 85 and 95. All right, period 3 kind of had an outlier. Most students scored between 60 and 85, but somebody scored down at almost a 30. Okay, so that can tell you that there's probably some outliers. All right, so now making a box and whisker plot, what we're going to do is identify those 5 key points. Okay, the minimum, the maximum, the median, All right, and then the first and third quartile. So my minimum is going to be -7. Make a point there. My maximum is going to be 10. Make a point there. All right, maybe a bigger point. Okay, the median, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I got 15 points of data, so it should be number 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Median is going to be 4. Okay, so 4, that would be my line. All right, and if my median is 4, that's my median, then this data set, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 is going to be my third quartile. All right, and same thing, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 is going to be my first quartile. Oops, my lines are a little bit off. Let's make them bigger. Okay, those 3 lines make my box. And then I extend out to my points to make my whiskers. Okay, and there you have it. Box and whisker plot. Oh, here was my other quartile. Okay, so first quartile, second quartile or median, third quartile, minimum, maximum, and I'm done.